Hi Leo, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot and welcome to your cards for January of 2021. I apologize, I am not on camera this month, at least not for these readings. My family had COVID over the holidays and we're all recovering, and it's taking everything in me to do these readings. Throwing hair and makeup and worrying about what I look like is really not, it's not in it for me right now, but I am really enjoying these readings, and they're pretty profound. I think January is a really big month. Now, Leo, there is no way that we're going to get through the next couple of years without really delving into what's happening with your 7th house. You're about to go through some pretty karmic lessons. I know 2020 was not easy. The 6th house transits weren't easy. That was all about mastery of self. It was all about self-expression, figuring out who you are. Now you bring it to the outer world. When these planets shifted at the end of December, there seems to be a change that occurs. There's a focus now on who you are with other people. So most likely your influences or your friends or your significant others, maybe coworkers, whatever it is, most likely the environment has changed. And now is a time when new people can really come in, or the old people, things can really take root. However, with Saturn there, if they're not healthy relationships, if they're not good relationships, they will dissolve. If you have underlying issues in regards to relationships of some kind, this could even be like client stuff and work stuff. You know, 7th house doesn't always have to be about significant partnerships. It can also be about best friends. 7th house is not, it also has a lot to do with business, and it's also about starting new projects. So there's a lot happening in that 7th house for you, but I'm definitely seeing relationship stuff here. Now, the theme for 2021 is the square between your 7th house and your 10th house. Now, you are hosting Uranus in your 10th house, and Mars is moving into your 10th house and about to conjunct Uranus. This can be pretty explosive energy. Now, it doesn't have to be explosive, but exciting, unpredictable opportunities. What Uranus and Mars will do together is massive liberation. Okay? So there's a new creation of who Leo is, who they want to be, their destiny, their path in the world. I see Leo making some really big decisions over the next couple of years. Where do I want to live? Where do I want to put down roots? Do I want to get married? Do I want to have children? You know, how do I want to handle retirement? I think that there's a lot of new possibilities opening for Leo, and there's some cycles that are still closing out, and there's still healing that we have to do. And this first portion, these first couple of months of 2021 are still going to feel a lot like 2020. You're going to feel like a lot of more of the same old, but we're still working through stuff and we're getting there. And when March rolls around, the atmosphere is going to be very, very different. So Leo, you are coming out as yourself, King of Wands, fully in your energy. Now I worry here because for some reason, I pulled this card and I felt a lot of ego here. And I'm wondering if there aren't some Leos that are still working through some lessons. Now, I don't mean that to sound like negative in any way. We're all dealing with our ego on a day-to-day basis, right? It's not just like egotistical, being conceited, being full of yourself. That's not the kind of ego stuff that I'm talking about. Ego is where you might play things too safe. You might not be standing in your light because you're worried about what other people will think or say. It's about not jumping on those opportunities because you fear the risk. You fear making a fool out of yourself. You know, that's the ego's job, is to keep you safe. So if you are constantly living in a thought process of wanting to stay safe, then usually life is kind of small, right? We play things small. We play it safe. We don't dream real big. We don't ask for a whole lot. You know, when we manifest, we can manifest, you know, some of us are like, well, I just want enough money to pay my bills. And the rest of us are like, I want more money than anybody else in the world. So there's always a big difference there. And I think that right now, although I don't normally pick this up for this King of Wands, but it feels like there's a little bit of struggle for Leo as far as figuring out what they truly want. They're sorting through a little bit of shadow work here as well. Now, I say that because your archetype card for this month is a riddle. Oddly enough, I believe it was Cancer that got the same card. So you might be dealing with a Cancer, or you might have those elements in your chart. The puzzle, the question, the mystery. When the riddle is present, one must stop searching for the right answer. It cannot be found, and ultimately it is not important. Rather, there must be a shift from the literal to the metaphorical, from logic to mythic. You are thinking too small and literal about the situation. The riddle card appears when the energy is deep and mysterious, like the elusive wisdom in a Zen koan. Focusing harder won't do it. Neither will increased effort. Time, surrender, and humor are your only allies. What feels like the most pressing dilemma won't reveal its deeper wisdom for a long time. Eventually, you'll learn a profound lesson from the riddle. For now, get comfortable with the limitations of your intellect and the reality of not knowing. It may, in fact, be the only reality there is. It could cause a great awakening or aha moment, which feels a lot like Mars and Uranus in the 10th house. But when in dark energy, manipulation, deceit, or trickery. See, this is what I'm saying. When I see that manipulation and deceit, it's not Leo coming from like a really mean, horrible place. Like you're not a bad person. But if you're not willing to share things about yourself, if you're not willing to share your feelings, if you're not willing to share your opinions, you know, in friendships and relationships, even at the job, if you don't have a little bit of a spark or a personality behind it because you're playing it safe, like I said, you're really doing a disservice for people and mostly yourself. Now, I see a lot of back and forth here. These two cards right below those, the riddle and the King of Wands, seems to be, to me, almost a very karmic partnership. Now, we've got the King of Cups in reverse underneath the King of Wands, which is telling me that that is you. That, again, is you being kind of emotionally unavailable. Now, some Leos might just not be interested in love at this time. They may not be interested in kind of being a provider or a caretaker or a nurturer. Like you just don't have it in you right now to be in a relationship, and that's okay. The King of Cups in reverse can come off as manipulative. In fact, whenever I see the King of Cups in reverse, I see manipulation. And I'm wondering, King of Wands, I'm wondering, Leo, if you aren't being real honest. And see, the thing is, the Queen of Swords that's next to you, this queen, I feel in a way has probably cut you off. Or you, again, this is an element of you where you are not willing to kind of emotionally invest in anything right now. This Queen of Swords is also very, very cold. So at the very least, this is someone who senses kind of where you're at, and senses that maybe you're not ready for a serious commitment or a relationship. Maybe there's some healing that still needs to be done in order for you to kind of open your heart to a real relationship. And that's what I mean about Saturn in that 7th house. Even if all of you wants to push yourself into this relationship, it simply won't work until you do the healing, until you lay the solid foundations. Saturn and Jupiter are going to really demand a lot of you in the next year. So King of Cups in reverse, you know, if you're lying and telling another person that you don't really have feelings about them, or you don't really care about how this goes, there is a possibility of you really missing an opportunity, because a Queen of Swords is simply not going to spend her time and energy on anything that isn't worthwhile. This is a Queen of Discernment. This is a Queen of Logic. If she cannot receive something of value from this relationship, she certainly isn't going to take part in it. The Queen of Swords isn't really warm and fuzzy either. This isn't somebody that's going to love you through a hard time. This is really somebody that's going to push you to do the work, push you to have the experiences that you need. You know, it's somebody who can definitely inspire you. I always see the Queen of Swords is kind of a muse, an inspiration, somebody that's giving you really solid advice, somebody who's telling you to follow your dreams, somebody who really has your back, but at the same time certainly isn't holding you down, Leo. And for that, even though this King of Cups is in reverse, I sense a tremendous amount of respect here. You know, you're both still coming out as king and queen, so there's maturity. I don't see a lot of childish games, even though King of Cups can be manipulative. I don't think it's in a way where somebody's like cheating or not being honest. You know, I think this is more lying to yourself, telling yourself that you don't want this, or you don't want to emotionally invest. I don't think it's like you being dishonest with other people. Okay. Now, here's what I don't like. King of Cups in reverse, your inability to accept or receive love. For whatever reason, you seem to be having a hard time allowing love into your life. Maybe this makes you uncomfortable in some ways. You know, you are hosting that North Node in Gemini in your 11th house. The 11th house is gains and wishes, and so you might be having some opportunities or some lucky, you know, sometimes when you have an 11th house transit, you meet very influential and important people in your life. It's a very karmic house to kind of meet people that help you ascend to the next level, gurus, or love relationships. So in a way, there's something within Leo that's kind of resisting this. And what happens when you resist this is you come out as somewhat immature. And I just like the way, let me clear that, this Queen of Swords is kind of staring directly at this Knight of Wands, but yet kind of looking right over him. And I think this is a deceit. The deceit is you coming across as a Knight of Wands when what you truly are is a King of Cups in reverse. Leo wants love. They want relationships. They just don't know how to ask for it. They don't know how to do it. Okay, there's issues with confidence here, as we'll cover in the next two cards. There's issues with, you know, allowing yourself to dream or want or express yourself in some way, to say the things that you really want to say. Now, the vibe I'm picking up off of this Queen of Swords is super cool. I don't think that she's fully judging, and I don't think that she is, like I said, there's some form of inspiration that you're getting from this person, although I think that at certain levels they may intimidate you. The Queen of Swords is kind of waiting and observing, trying to watch your behavior, see how you act. I don't get the feeling like she has completely turned her back. So I still see interest. I still see mutual understanding. I still see conversation. I still feel as though both of you are in mutual energy. So in other words, you're talking to each other, you're seeing each other on a regular basis, texting back and forth. You are still currently in each other's lives. I'm not quite sure you are 100% a couple or together. This might be a lot of fuzziness over where is this going? What is this going to turn into? What do I want? Now, here's the thing. This Knight of Wands is moving away from this Ten of Cups. So again, another indication that you are resisting your true happiness. Leo seems to be not interested in commitments at this time, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all go through periods in our life where we kind of want our freedom, and certainly Uranus going through your 10th house will cause you to kind of want to expand. There's probably a part of Leo that wants to move across the country, recreate their lives, do something wild. We're all in this stagnant energy of 2020, requiring change in order for our souls to kind of grow. And yet maybe that adventure is going to cost you. Maybe this is the 7th house, 10th house transit. What do you want? I think that's what this is all about for Leo. What do you really want? And knowing that the decision that you make needs to come from the right place. You have to be really clear on it. It can't come from a place of being too afraid to take the big risk. That could be different from everybody. Someone's big risk might be getting in the relationship. Someone's big risk might be leaving it. I don't know. But there seems to be a resistance to the happiness that you've wanted, that you've been manifesting, whether you realize it or not. And that's the thing. The thing is, I don't know how aware you are of how you truly, truly feel from within. But I do know that we have a full moon coming up at the very end of January, and we have retrograde Mercury happening in your 7th house all of February. So things that happen in January, breakups, getting back together, they're going to be all up for review. So whatever happens in January is probably not going to be a culmination in January. We're probably still going to be dealing with those themes in February, but the universe might be changing up the perspective on you a little bit, might be making you realize what your 10 of Cups truly is. Is it freedom? Is it time? Is it money? Is it companionship and partnership? Is it commitment? I don't know. It's going to be different from everybody, but the opportunity is here. The keys are here for you to open the door. Now, the warning sign, or my warning card for the month is the Hierophant in reverse. I don't like to see this as a warning sign because, again, this is an indication, much like the Knight of Wands moving away from this 10 of Cups, that there's a fear of commitment. There's a fear of admitting what you truly want. When I see the Hierophant card, it reminds me of your ultimate truth. This is 10th house. This is, what do you want to be remembered for? This is, what do you want your life to really be about? And I think a lot of ways when the Hierophant is in reverse, we're doing the things that sometimes other people need us to do and not the things that we were truly here to do. Hierophant in reverse can really resent commitments. They can kind of dodge them because they feel so much burden from them, I So there's definitely a feeling of lacking commitment in the month of January. If you are in the energy that you don't want to make any commitments in January, I think it's okay. But it's not okay to make promises or act as though you're going to want to make commitments when you know you don't. And that's the only kind of warning that I want to give you with that King of Cups in reverse and indication that there might be some manipulation. If you are real honest with your partner, if you are really honest in your relationships and friendships, I think the universe is going to work with you real well here. I think that they're going to teach you some things you're going to be grateful for, and I don't think it's going to be all that dramatic or heartbreaking. Like the riddle, it's you're not really going to understand why all of this drama occurred, but somehow it gets all of the pieces in place. Now, the thing is, the Hierophant in reverse comes out right underneath this card number 49. Breaking down to a 4, observer. 4 is about foundation. Oh, and I don't remember if I pulled this. Confidence is the key to your success. New moon in Leo. Now, a couple things here. This could represent kind of a new beginning emerging for you and you choosing a path, right? 7th house, 10th house. What do you want? With the yellow here, and there's a lot of yellow in this top row here, which tells me that there's a lot of solar plexus energy. It's about directions, it's about moving, it's about initiation. Underneath the movement and the initiation is a lot of blue, meaning there needs to be a lot of communication. New moon in Leo, confidence is a key to your success. You need to communicate, Leo. You can't be afraid to tell people what you're feeling. And in fact, with this observer card, I think people are very interested to find out what's going on. What is Leo thinking? What are they doing? What are they planning? And there's probably at least one person who's wondering what Leo truly wants. Now, card number 49, the observer. Perspective, objectivity, and neutral observation from a distance. I do want to read the relationship message to you guys because I'm definitely picking up a relationship vibe. Sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself and in others and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. See, because we got the new moon in Leo and not the full moon in Leo, I feel as though there's like a relationship is not ending here. It feels like a new phase and a new understanding between you two. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're together either, but I don't see an ending. I don't see an abrupt, I don't see anger. I don't see anything like that. What I do see is Leo starting to communicate. And I think that's what this retrograde Mercury through your 7th house is going to do. It's going to force you to communicate what are your true feelings. Are there hurts? Are there resentments that you're holding on to? Maybe not even from this relationship, but relationships of the past. And then you kind of hoard all of those old experiences and they get triggered in your new relationships because whatever we haven't healed is going to be triggered, okay? We're in a very triggering phase, as we have been for a while. So these things are going to come up, and the universe is going to kind of test you because it wants you to express yourself, to say those things, to be brave enough to tell people how you truly feel, what you truly want, what your expectations are, what your hopes and dreams are. what your emotional needs are, okay? It's important that you know what you need emotionally, and it's important that you feel confident enough to ask for it. Now, the outcome is that of a Page of Wands in reverse. This is what I'm saying about it being retrograde Mercury. There will be misunderstandings. There will, and especially if you are avoiding communication in any way. King of Wands can say some really immature things. They could do some really immature stuff. You know, Page of Wands can sometimes be like really loving a person, like ghosting them. Page of Wands can be losing interest even, you know. Maybe you're rapidly losing interest in some of the things that you thought you wanted. This could just be you changing your mind and your direction in some ways. So I'm definitely telling my Leos to stay open in January. I think the climate can kind of change for you somewhat rapidly, back and forth, back and forth. It's definitely not a time to make any commitments right now. The overall energy, and this is kind of funny, is you got the Page of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Six of Pentacles. This is a universe forcing you to open your heart. Leo, these are lessons, these are messages, these are conversations, these are other people. Maybe they're different people, maybe it's different versions of the same person, but this Page of Swords represents like the communication that needs to happen. There's definitely messages going back and forth between two people. There's definitely a need for clarity. Next to that is the King of Cups. So what are you going to express? It's your emotions. This is when you have to start sharing your emotions. This can't go on much longer. You're never going to understand where you stand, and therefore you're not giving anybody a chance. Knight of Cups is brave enough to say the I love yous, to proclaim his love. In fact, he's quite romantic. So if that's something that's kind of brewing kind of beneath the surface, you know, maybe you're being very stoic and you don't want anything to do with love, but yet deep down you really do wish you kind of had that person. I see that with the Six of Pentacles. I see kind of wishing you had somebody to share life with, to share the experiences with. Now this isn't for everybody at all, but because there are a lot of people, there's a lot of court cards in here. And sometimes I see with the Six of Pentacles that there could be a giving to two different places. It doesn't necessarily have to be cheating. And again, I'm not picking up like a Three of Cups or a Three of Pentacles situation here. But sometimes I see the Six of Pentacles as choosing where you want to invest your time, energy, and money. You might be really torn between two different ideas this month. I see that over and over again. Now, underneath that was the Four of Wands, the Three of Swords, and the Emperor. I get a sense of feeling like you maybe rushed into something and you may have disappointed somebody. Or maybe you had really high expectations and got disappointed by somebody. Maybe this is somebody from your past even. This is a time for you to kind of let these things go, okay? It's a time for you to stop trying to control the situation and the outcomes, trying to remove yourself from situations in order for you to not get hurt. I see that a lot here. So it's definitely an expansion time for Leo. Jupiter will do that in your 7th. It'll have you change your perspective. You're going to be forced to expand and open your heart a little bit. And Saturn is going to make sure it's with the right person. So probably best to go with the flow a little bit this month. Don't make too many permanent decisions, Leo. I think February will be more of a time to understand this a little bit better. Final words of advice is to keep that sense of humor. Don't judge anybody. Don't be too hasty. Don't jump to conclusions, okay? You don't want to burn any bridges because of the retrograde Mercury. Likely these things are going to come back again for review. So it is what it is. It might be a little bit of a roller coaster for the next month, month and a half here, but you'll get through it and you'll be stronger for it. All right, Leo, lots of love. I'll be checking in mid-month for the love readings, and then I will see you again in February. I hope that January is a great month for you. I'll talk to you soon. Lots of love. Bye.